Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, going to go over an article titled Colleges Scramble to Recruit Students as Nationwide Enrollment Plunges. And guys, this whole article is, like it says here, how essentially, as I like to call it, the college industrial complex is really hurting right now. And they're really, as it says, scrambling. Because more and more kids are deciding not to go to college. And in this article, it's going to range from like 5%, the number's down 5%, as much as 40% from recent highs in terms of enrollments. So it's really scaring the crap out of a lot of colleges, universities across the country. And I'm doing this, guys, I know this is a little different than my normal material, but I'm doing this in the terms of the success and self-improvement element to this channel for a lot of the young guys out there that are thinking about their future and considering going to college. And I've been saying all along, since I started this channel, that I'm all for education. Don't get me wrong. But in terms of paying for it, in terms of going to college and all that, if you're going to do it, in my opinion, you got to go for school that you are going to get the best bang for your buck. In other words, you major in something that there is a demand for when you get out. A lot of people, kids, when they're young, they major in these BS subjects and there's no demand for what they go to school for, and they have these astronomical loans that they're stuck for decades paying off, and they can barely scrape on by, okay? And they just simply are young, and they're foolish to major some bullshit thing. Meanwhile, the people that did major in something there's a demand for, they make it okay. They got to pay a lot, but the return is justified for the expense. But what's interesting, guys, is that a lot of people are realizing it's simply not worth it, okay? They just do not want to risk having that astronomical amount of debt for decades after they get out. So many are choosing other options. They're choosing to focus on a trade or something along those lines, or others are looking for jobs. And this is going to pretty much talk about how, a lot of colleges and universities are soiling themselves over this. They don't know what to do. And I think it's great because so many people are just getting royally screwed out there. Now, don't get me wrong, everybody's responsible for their own actions. They sign on the dotted line to go to school and they choose these things. But these colleges and universities make out like bandits, okay? What they charge for, I mean, come on here. They got so much, they're up to their eyeballs in money. And so, believe me, they could charge far less. But anyhow, I'm going to get into this here. So, again, for you guys who think about college and all that, I really want you to think about these things before you make that decision. But it's good to hear, in my opinion, that they're hurting because they're now actually offering deals and stuff to get people in. Because whenever businesses are hurting, they offer deals. It's just like stores, anybody that sells anything. If they're not making the sales, they'll give discounts and deals. So I'm going to get into a little bit more. It says here, on Valentine's Day, her hometown college offered Brianne Steinman a seat in the class of 2026. The certificate of admission from Indiana University of Pennsylvania validated her achievements as mostly a student. She says, I told everybody, the 18-year-old said, I was so excited. But she's not going yet. Steinman plans to take a gap year to work at a nursing home after graduation. High school during the pandemic, with long spells online or wearing masks, has felt grueling. For now, paychecks beckon. She wants to earn and save. I need a break, Steinman said. I definitely need a break. I just want to work. That's all I want to do. Colleges across America face a daunting challenge. Their student headcount has shrunk more than 5% since 2019, according to a national estimate, as debate over the value of higher education intensified during the public health crisis and economic turmoil. Now, that's 5%, but it has been way more in other areas and way more since the mid-2010s, as I'm going to get into a little bit more. Because more and more people are realizing it's not worth the expense. Now, they want to blame other things here, but in terms of like a job market where the workers have much more say in terms of getting better deals, better pay, as things are right now in this moment in 2022. But they don't want to say, and they won't in this article, the reason is people are realizing it's not worth it, the giant astronomical amount of debt that they take on, which I think is quite funny. And by the way, I got to mention this real quick, guys. I remember I got friends that are lawyers, and a bunch of them all graduated at the same time in 2007. And when they told me the amount of debt they had from law school loans and loans from their four-year colleges, it was unbelievable. And they spent a long time. Really, it was a tight budget, even though they were making good money at the law firms because of the astronomical debt. And I remember saying to my buddies, I bet you by 2020, the numbers are going to start declining big time. And that's what we got now. Anyway, says here, those numbers, that's an enrollment loss of nearly 1 million students. Some drifted out of college while others never started. Many colleges are on an urgent quest to keep students and recover their lost freshmen. Urgent quest, huh? At stake are not only the education and career prospects of huge numbers of young adults, but also the financial health of regional colleges and universities. Once students leave, they often don't return. Gap years can become permanent. You can't tell me that these colleges and universities don't have plenty of money up the butt to take care of themselves, even if students are temporarily not going. And how about all these universities where they get all these, donations from wealthy families and all that? Even if they're the top Ivy League schools or just other universities, they get donations. They got money coming all the time. I just don't want to hear how dire straits they are and how badly they're hurting. What a load of crap. Says, how do we get these people to come back, especially in a strong job market? Asked Courtney Brown, a vice president with a Lumina Foundation based in Indianapolis, which promotes learning beyond high school. Privileged universities are weathering the upheaval, Brown said. It's everybody else that is hurting. Here in western Pennsylvania and elsewhere, the student shortage has been developing for several years because of demographic factors such as a stagnant population growth. The pandemic and lately rising wages and the economic recovery have accelerated the trend. So right here she said the shortage has been developing for several years. But not once does she say anything about kids realizing the expense of going is not worth it. Okay? Unless, I'll keep saying unless, you're majoring in something that there's a big demand for out there that even though you got a big expensive loans, you'll be making enough in time to justify it. In my opinion, as I've been saying this all along, better to go for a trade where you have very little investment put into that. You may not make as much money as some of the people that would have the 4-year degrees, but you don't have the debt forever racking up interest. Just a little thing I like to point out. But I'm all for education just as long as it's the right education and obviously what you put into it. And I'm also, by the way, guys, for self-education your whole life. It's not that if you can read, you can pick up a damn book and read and educate yourself on anything. And your smartphone, you can look at and read, look up and Google anything to learn about. Self-education never stops, guys. It says here, the National Student Clearinghouse Research Center, which produced a national estimate of enrollment decline, found acute troubles in several states since the fall of 2019. In Pennsylvania, public university enrollment fell 12%, and community college enrollment plunged 23%. Those are some big numbers. IUP, as the public university here is known, mirrored the state pattern. In its fall student headcount of about 9,300 was down 12% from 2019. Federal data shows enrollment peaked in 2012 at more than 15,500. That's a 40% decline in less than a decade, battering the university's finances. 40%. That's huge. What did I tell you? People are realizing it's not worth it. And also, I want to point something else, guys. For those of you that want to go off to college, and those of you that are majoring in something there's a demand for when you get out, really consider going to community college if you haven't done so already. You can save a hell of a lot of money. Community colleges have deals with the 4-year schools you want to go to. You'll save a lot more money, and also consider living at home as opposed to renting an apartment or living in a dorm. Okay, your parents may drive you crazy on occasion, but they'll allow you to stay there. You'll save a fortune on rent and utilities and every other thing. So find ways to save money early on. Down the road, your future self will thank you. Anyhow. So starting in December 2019, IUP President Michael A. Driscoll said that school cut its workforce by about a quarter through attrition and layoffs. It also merged the College of Fine Arts and the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, and cut academic programs in fields such as dance arts and reorganized numerous other programs. See, again, college industrial complex, they're like a business just like any other operation, and when sales start slowing down, revenue stops coming in as much, companies restructure, they reorganize, they lay off. It's the same thing here. And make no mistake, it is a business, a big, huge business. And everybody's brainwashed that you got to do it. Dramatic and traumatic changes, Driscoll acknowledged. Recently, IUP cut tuition to WU in-state students. Those who take full-time load of 15 units per semester will be charged $77.16 in the next school year, 19% lower than the sticker price this year. Those prices don't include scholarships and need-based financial aid. 19% discount. What'd I tell you? When business is slow, Companies offer sales and deals and all that type of thing. Same thing here. And you know they're desperate when they're doing that. Now, the university says it's laser focused on recruiting and retaining students. It's a culture change, Driscoll said. If I'm thinking about enrollment, it's really about every student matters. Around the country, regional public universities such as IUP have faced many more enrollment difficulties in recent years than the state flagships that fill seats easily. This is doubtly problematic because regional schools also tend to serve more disadvantaged families. 40% of IUP students have enough financial need to qualify for federal Pell Grants, nearly twice the share found at better-known Pennsylvania State University. The promise of social mobility at an affordable price draws students from low-income families to public colleges and universities. They see the bachelor's degree as a ticket to a better life. The degrees are neither a prerequisite for nor a guarantee of career success, but research shows they are powerfully correlated with good jobs. In other words, yes, you go to school and make that investment, you will do well on the basis of you have a low cost, say you got grants and scholarships and all that to minimize what you have to pay for it, and of course you major in something that there's a demand for. But there are a lot of degrees that people major in, a lot of them very liberal arts degrees that's great if you want to learn it on your own for fun, going to a library and getting a book out, but to major in some of these liberal arts degrees, it's like, yeah, your damn mind, you're going to pay $100,000 to major in this particular subject or that particular subject. There's no demand for it, and you're going to cry because you can't make your loans and feel entitled to have your debt forgiven. That's a load of crap. Got to be smart about this. A study in October from Georgetown University Center on Education and the Workforce found the median lifetime earnings of those whose highest credential in a bachelor's degree was $2.8 million, with the top quartile making at least $4.1 million. For those with only a high school diploma, the median was $1.6 million, with the top amount of $2.2 million or more. The bachelor's degree is the gold standard, especially over the long term, said Anthony P. Carnevale, director of the center. Yes, they may make that money, but again, how much debt do they take on to make that amount of money? That's great. You can make $1 million a year, but if you have to pay an astronomical amount in loans, it doesn't make a difference. You make $1 million a year, and you'll be taxed more, I might add. way, way more. Now, many potential college students are feeling the pull of the job market. The nation's unemployment rate edged below 4% in February, and employers are offering higher wages and benefits for entry-level jobs that don't require a college degree. Yeah, right now, for a lot of workers, they have a lot more pull. They can get better deals out there, and a lot of young guys, young gals are thinking about that as opposed to going to school. Now, in the long term, now I'm okay with that temporarily while they're working on maybe a certification or something for a solid trade, But if they want to go work at some place, if they again pay $15 an hour to work at Target or something like that, okay, that can work when you're 18, 19 years old and living at home. Okay, no big deal there, but that doesn't want to be your career. Okay, you should be doing that while you're working on something else. Make that clear. And I'm not dissing Target. I'm literally looking at a Target right now over in the parking lot, so it's in my mind. At Public East Stroudsburg University in the Pocono Range of eastern Pennsylvania, enrollment fell 17% after the pandemic started to 5,100 students last fall. Kenneth Long, the university's interim president, said he often hears of potential students jumping into the retail or service industries in search of $15 an hour, sometimes $20 or more. That's what we're competing against in many ways, he says. Wages look especially attractive when universities were operating largely online at the beginning of the pandemic. Long recalled a university student who told him, "I'm going to take a semester off because I'm really making good money right now." Long wants to redouble efforts to convince potential and current students that college is worth it over the long term. What we have to do as educators is deliver the valuable proposition to the parents and to those kids. We're trying to touch the kid that doesn't see college as their future. The visions can be a tough sell. Do not try to tell me that it's all about the kids. At the end of the day, like I said at the beginning, it's a freaking business, a huge industry, the college industrial complex. And these guys, these presidents are basically CEOs, and they're trying to protect their interests. Says here, Mila Dawes toured colleges in Massachusetts, filled out a federal financial aid application, and researched performing arts at Temple University in Philadelphia. Yet nagging uncertainties to what to study, where to go, and how to pay for it gave her pause after she graduated in 2020 from a high school in the Philadelphia suburbs. She says it felt risky. Now Jaws, now 19, said of enrolling in college. I was never really sure. You don't put that kind of money out. You don't make that kind of commitment if you're not sure. I don't think it was a responsible thing to do. And that's a very good point. A lot of people graduate high school and don't have a clue what to do. But this is why some end up going to community college and they get out the basic requirements out of the way while they're figuring these things out. But it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to shell out all this dough when you have absolutely no clue what to do. It's better, in my opinion, you work for a semester or a year figuring things out. The concern is that people then will just get used to that job and not focus on working towards a trade or a skill, for a serious trade or skill, or in that case, college, if they major in something right. There is that concern. With encouragement from her mother, she enrolled at Delaware Community College. There you go. But she said she felt adrift in virtual classes and quit school in that November. Dawes toyed with returning, but her mother's sudden death in March 2021 changed her priorities. She took a job at a Wawa convenience store, moved into a small apartment, and eventually enrolled in cosmetology school. Her next goal is to work in a beauty salon, but she hasn't ruled out college. Okay, so she got a job working at Wawa. Those are popular convenience stores in Pennsylvania, because I'm from Pennsylvania. And but she's working towards she's in cosmetology school, so she's a skill, a trade. There you go. She says, maybe in the future, I'll take it bit by bit with online classes and do it while I'm doing hair and makeup, wherever it takes me. Maybe I can get a business degree to move up in the field. Okay, but right now she's focusing on a trade, a skill in cosmetology. Pennsylvania faces another obstacle to college enrollment, a pattern of low funding for higher education. The State Higher Education Executive Officers Association, teaming with the Illinois State University, compiled estimates that show Pennsylvania this year is spending about $142 per capita on higher education, less than every state except New Hampshire. I don't know if that 142 is accurate. As a result, students and their families pay a larger share of campus operating expenses. Tuition and fees for public universities are higher in Pennsylvania than in most states. Yes, that is true, because again, I'm from Pennsylvania. That too often hurts recruiting. Penn State, Temple, and University of Pittsburgh, all public institutions with national profiles, are in stronger shape than the Pennsylvania state system of higher education, which encompasses IUP, East Stroudsburg, and 12 other regional universities. The system, with chronic enrollment problems, has been forced to cut costs. Plans are underway to merge 6 of its schools into 2 universities with 3 campuses apiece. Democratic Governor Tom Wolf is seeking a 16% operating budget increase for the system to $552 million a year and $200 million for a need-based aid to students in the system and community colleges. Those proposals are pending in the Republican-controlled state legislature. The system is pushing lawmakers to make the investment. It says here, basically I say to them, this is a choice. We are your system. You own us. What do you want? Says Chancellor Daniel Greenstein. This is what you need in terms of your workforce development. We can't deliver without your support. Here in Indiana, the university is not merging with any others. IUP is a mid-sized research institution that offers PhDs in fields including English, safety sciences, master's degrees in a range of professions, and bachelor's degrees in more than 100 programs. Founded in 1875, the university dominates a small town known as the birthplace of Hollywood star Jimmy Stewart and the center of a Christmas tree growing region. Faculty members are proud of IUP and eager to help stabilize or better yet raise enrollment. Some say that the university grew too much when it reached 15,000 students a decade ago, and that's a better target would have been 12,000. There have been years of cost-cutting pain, they say, as the headcount plunged below 10,000 during the pandemic. So they had 15,000 years ago, and the teachers said it was too much. But the university didn't give a shit, because again, this is a big, giant business. They're like, hey, we don't care. The kids will figure it out. She says it's been hell on wheels, says David Chambers, chair of political science. Serious budget deficits. He's planning to retire at the end of the school year after more than 30 years at IUP. I don't know, but I'm reasonably sure that I won't be replaced, Chambers said, which then places a great deal of pressure on the department because they have to try to figure out how to cover the courses that I teach. David Piper, a long-term professor of employment and labor relations, holds 4 degrees from IUP and chairs its university senate. 4 degrees, okay. Somebody's overcompensating. Somebody's definitely an overachiever here. He says there was a time and place when enrollment just happened. Students showed up, faculty members taught. Now it's all hands on deck. He pitches in his student orientations and move-in days and other events. I recruit when I'm on vacation, Piper said. I recruit when I go to church on Sunday. I recruit, no matter what. They are really hurting. And again, they're focusing on this one particular university, but there's plenty across the country in the same situation in varying degrees. Bottom line is, the young crowds aren't going to school anymore because they're realizing it's not worth it. But now notice once they have not mentioned at all students realizing, I'm not going to spend all this money when it's not going to justify what I put into this. They're just blaming other things like, kids just want to work at Wawa or whatever. No. That's the main motivator. That's the main drive. Because a lot of these kids are growing up in households where their parents took on a huge debt and it wasn't worth it to them. Years ago, I had two friends that were lawyers. I know lots of lawyers, guys. And they said flat out, the one guy, he went to Harvard. And they had their first kid. And they said, I hope our kids become mechanics because they won't have all the loans that we have because they were conditioned just go to school, spend. And they do well now. But back 12 years ago, when they were starting out, it was tough. But even they still have the debt. It says here, on the university's enrollment team, there's practically no end to the admissions cycle. It offers transfer and freshman seats on a rolling basis throughout the year and sticks with recruiting every day until students actually show up. For the class that entered in the fall of 2020, records show that 93% of the 9,030 freshman applicants were admitted. Of those, 1,864 enrolled that fall. The school generally accepts at least a 2.5 high school grade point average. That seems kind of low. I guess they're obviously being a lot less selective to get people in there. But like I said, you can see here, guys, if you guys are watching this and say you just finished high school and you didn't really give it your best in high school, but you are smart and you want to major in something that there's a demand for, you might be able to get in a place you wouldn't be able to go beforehand and get a better deal because they're offering deals to get students in. That's something to consider. I was a screw up in high school because I just wasn't happy, but believe me, I had the brains to get straight A's if I wanted to. It wasn't until college that I found what I loved. I was passionate for business. That I started doing it really, really well until I left college to start my first business. As of March 24th, enrollment leaders counted 1,100 deposits from admitted students to save a seat in the freshman class. But those totals can be deceiving because admitted students sometimes hedge their bets with deposits at multiple colleges. IUP officials would like the class of 2026 to reach 2,000 students, but they say a more realistic scenario is about 1,800. They are also aiming for 300 new transfer students. In an open house for prospective students, recruiter Lance Marshall pitched IUP's academic programs, study faculty relationships, Division II sports team, suite-style housing, and friendly vibe. A really nice college town, very walkable, lots of great shops and restaurants, he said. I like it here as a student. I've also raised my family here. On a tour of the campus, student guides showed off various configurations of 2, 3, or 4 student suites. Raved about the cookies and gelato at the dining hall, showed off the Student Fitness Center, and noted that the town holds an annual It's a Wonderful Life parade and festival in honor of the famous holiday movie featuring native son Jimmy Stewart. Well, that's all nice about the great accommodations and the gelato dining hall and the fitness center, but if you're still paying a fortune for all that, big freaking deal. You can live in a normal town and you don't have to pay to go to college and you can get all the gelato you want, join a nice gym that you want to go to. But those things are meant to rope a lot of young, impressionable kids in. Michael DeLasso, a postal worker from Philly, was touring with his 17-year-old daughter, Adriana. He didn't go to college himself, but for his daughter, he said, I definitely want her to get out and experience the college life. Meet new people. Money matters to him. He's been saving for tuition since Adriana was a baby. This is affordable, he said. This is very attractive. Well, okay, if it is affordable and you can get a good deal and she's majoring in something sensible, okay. But the fact that he mentioned here, I want her to get out and experience the college life. This is a business deal. And that's what it really is. Okay, you're going to school to gain skills in a certain area so you can make money in life and provide for yourself and a future family if that's what you want to do. So I don't want to hear about the college experience. That's a bunch of crap sold in 70s and 80s and 90s movies. People bought into it and then look at the kind of loans they have to deal with today. Like other colleges, IUP mails prospective students reams of promotional material every year along with emails and texts. But often the best way to land one is through word of mouth. Now they ramble on for a bit, so I'm going to skip over a section and wrap this up pretty soon. It continues on, for any regional university, the most crucial source of new students is the local high school. Indiana Area Senior High School is eager to do it all, open doors to IUP through dual enrollment programs and other neighborly connections. In a typical year, it sends about 60 graduates to the university. But many graduating seniors are looking for jobs right away. A career corner at the school library displays numerous guidebooks for them, including 300 best jobs without a 4-year degree. I've been reading articles, guys, about different companies that are hiring talented kids when they're getting out of high school, 18, 19 years old, that are maybe really good in computers or programming or whatever. And while in the past, they wouldn't have given them the time of day because they wanted the kids to have a degree. Now they're realizing these kids have these skills, and also they're looking for workers. Steinman, a senior at the college, seems definitive about her goals after the gap year. I couldn't imagine my life not going to college, she said. I'm dead set on going. But she doesn't know yet whether that would be IUP or a community college. Well, I'd recommend all people go to community college if to save some money. For some, the question of jobs versus college after high school is a false choice. They want both. If their plans succeed, colleges may discover a large number of potential students are not lost forever. They're just delayed. Well, the colleges don't want to hear that. They want that money to continue coming in. Garrett Griffith is a listen to this. Garrett Griffith is a metalworking whiz. The 18-year-old high school college senior from nearby Marion Center was milling a piece of tool steel to a 45-degree angle one recent afternoon in a machine laboratory here. Griffith has taken dual enrollment classes from IUP. He wants to study business and accounting and hopes of someday owning a manufacturing shop. There you go. He's got a skill right here. He said here with steel work and all that, but he wants to go to school to learn business and accounting. Going there to learn skills to help you in the real world. That's what you do. But Griffith hasn't applied to IUP or any other college. He sees himself on a different track. With his metalworking skills, Griffith figures to start in a well-paying job after he graduates and then pursue a bachelor's degree on the side with the help of his employer. In other words, he's got the metalworking skills. He's going to get a job that needs that services. He's going to get better on the job and get paid well. And on the side, he'll go to school and they'll pay for some of it. There's a way to go. That's a smart way to do it. And majoring in something that will help him one day go into business for himself. That's what I would do if I was starting over. Well, I'd do a lot of things if I was starting over, but that's the way to go. He says, I'm looking to continuously earn educational credits as I work, Griffith said. One of my thoughts is to further myself as much as possible, but not break the bank and put myself in the hole. Griffith is not drawn to the college experience, campus dormitories, and all that, as much as he is to skills, training, and certification. He talks about college in this way. It's not for the lifestyle, it's for the benefits. Correct. So that wraps us up, guys, but I liked how it ended with that guy, very sensible young guy. He must have had a very good role model. He's got the metalworking skills, get the job, get paid well, go on the side, and not go for the experience. That whole experience crap, which is sold in so many of these college movies over the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, it's just ridiculous, okay? It's business, and you got to think of it as a business deal. But anyhow, guys, this video is not your typical video I do. Probably not going to get a whole lot of views, but I thought it was important to talk about, particularly for you guys that are young and figuring things out what you want to do. Like I said before, I'm all for education, self-education, reading and learning and educating yourself your whole life to the day you die. But in terms of college education, really evaluate the situation. Is the thing you're going to major in and spend a lot of money for, is it worth it? You got to pursue something that has a solid demand for out there that you can get a good return on your investment. You got to look at it as an investment. You wouldn't buy stock in crappy companies, would you? No, you're going to buy stock in the best companies that are going to make a return on your investment. It's the same damn thing, but you're investing in yourself here. But a lot of people foolishly just put it in some BS subject and they don't get anything. And they're the ones that feel like they're owed and entitled to have their debt wiped out by taxpayers like me, which is ridiculous. But anyhow, guys, that'd be a good one to cover here. But again, like I said, the colleges are hurting and they're getting nervous. And mark my words, it is a massive industry. The college industrial complex, it's a business. And now that they're hurting, they're combining departments, they're cutting back, they're giving deals. It's very entertaining to see. So just for you young guys, just be careful, be smart about your decisions, and you'll be all right. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.